Okay, so we got one really early on Saturday morning because I missed yesterday because I was sleeping an awful lot. But I've got a new G.I. Joe classified series to open, and this is Big Boa. He was one of the ones that I wasn't able to pre-order. I can only afford to pre-order so much, even with the trick that I do with the Amazon gift cards. It's still like I gotta leave like one of them out usually at least and there was so many of them that I got this time. So Big Boo I got left by the wayside, but that's okay because that gives me a chance to find them in the store, and I do like the thrill of the hunt. So I found him at Walmart, and he'd been hanging there for a while, but I just hadn't had the money really to spare on an extra figure, and finally I didn't really have anything to buy this week, so I figured what the heck, might as well pick him up. So here is the cross-sell artwork on the back. Got showing off some of the details with the helmet and the bloody bandage on the hand. Oh, that's gruesome. So let's go ahead and open them up. Oh, let's first we'll have the portrait on the side. A lot of these have like kind of Easter eggs on here, and I don't really notice anything that really stands out to me. There is like a championship belt on the wall there. Maybe he got that from Rocky Balboa because Rocky was at one point going to be in the GI Joe line in the '80s, but that wound up not working out. So you see the Cobra emblem on the insert there. And Big Boa doesn't come with the most accessories that I've seen on one of these figures, but he comes with a few. So let's go ahead and have a look at those. First of all, he has an alternate head, which fell. God, where did it go? Hopefully it didn't roll under the couch. Man, why did you have to do that? I need to clean up around here. Well, let's just get the other accessories out first. So we've got these boxing gloves, and the boxing gloves have like a little cup around the end that's actually separate. So make sure I don't drop those. And then we've got two dumbbells. Big Boa himself looks kind of like a dumbbell. He's not the sharpest looking tool in the shed. And these dumbbells look like they weigh about 90 pounds. So not too shabby. And then Big Boa himself. The top part of this, the torso and the arms, I believe, is recycled from Roadblock and Gung Ho. Does look like he's got some new legs where he's got some blue tights with a kind of codpiece type thing and a belt that wraps around the middle. Looks almost like it's made out of rope. Got a steel plate at the back and a steel plate at the front to be like a buckle. And then he's got these two straps across the chest, this kind of BDSM harness with these spikes on there. He's a nasty looking customer. So, oh, there's where his head went. I see it. It fell in this box of stuff that I have down here. So there is the helmeted head. And of course, people who had the original Big Boa figure will remember that this is the head that the figure had. We didn't know what he looked like underneath the helmet, and now we do. So let's have a look at that. The bloody knuckles there. And I am surprised that they did not give Big Boa any tattoos. So the original Big Boa figure came with some boxing glove accessories and a punching bag that said Joe on it, and that was about it. So these are nice little extra accessories, and these will be fun to use for other characters as well. You can imagine, like, say like Gung Ho or Roadblock hanging out with these also. Let's go ahead and put the boxing gloves on him. So we pull out the hands that come default on the figure with those nasty bloody knuckles on both of them. So, and those are the gripping hands. So if you want them to hold a weapon of any kind, that's what you're going to have to put on them. So I'm not sure which way these are supposed to go on, especially since they came loose from each other. So I guess I'll just put them on just whatever wrist. I don't think it really matters that much. So, like I said, the original Big Boa figure had removable boxing gloves, but since, I guess because the new G.I. Joes have removable hands anyway, they decided to just go ahead and make them separate hands. And They are posable, of course. They rotate all the way around, and you can kind of pivot them horizontally. Let's get a closer look at this face. He's got like his incisors are knocked out there. I think that's what those are, the incisors, right? Yeah. So nasty look. He's got kind of this dull expression on his face. Nice thuggish looking face. He's he looks like a guy that like you wouldn't want to mess with, but you could probably beat him at chess, even if you're not very good at chess. So you know what? Before I took the hands out, I should have put the dumbbells in them. Well, we'll just go ahead and put the dumbbells in the hands while they're separate from the body. So yeah, they grip them pretty well. At least that hand does. This hand looks like it has a little bit of a tighter grip. So there's that. Shisha. All right, so we can pop his head off and pop on this helmeted head. And this, of course, would have been what 80s kids would have got when they got their Big Boa figure. Now, Big Boa is not one that I had myself when I was a kid, and I don't really remember any of the other kids having him either. Of course, that was like, you know, kind of late in the G.I. Joe line. I think he came out like 87. So I think we were kind of starting to outgrow playing with action figures by that point. But I still bought some every now and again that I thought were pretty cool. And I did think Big Boa was kind of cool. I just never got around to buying them for whatever reason. But yeah, so I don't really have the kind of nostalgic affection for Big Boa that I have for some of these other characters, like say Doc or the Dreadnoks or anybody like that. But I did think the figure was cool enough, just on its own merit, that I was going to go ahead and pick him up. So anyway, let's go over the articulation. So Big Boa can look up about that far. He can look down about that far. He can tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side. Arms rotate all the way around, and they move up about that far. So it rotates all the way around at the bicep. Got the double jointed elbows. That's about the range of articulation you get at those elbows. He does have the butterfly joints, so the shoulders can move forward that far and move backward about that far. He's got an ab crunch, so he can bend forward about that far, bend backward about that far. He's got the typical G.I. Joe classified waist articulation, although this one seems like it's kind of stuck. It's kind of similar to the old O-ring articulation, but it's on a peg instead of on an O-ring. So it's not quite as movable as that, but it's movable in a similar sort of way. He can kick his leg up about that far, so he's actually got really good range of motion on his legs, so that's impressive. And of course, it is the drop down hips, so you can see how those drop down and go back up. So that'll make it that helps with that articulation. He does have a thigh cut, so the thigh rotates all the way around. Oh, kind of moved the whole ball joint there. Got double jointed knees, so that's about the range of motion you get on the knees. And he does have a boot cut, so the boot rotates all the way around. He's got a similar kind of red ribbed pattern that reminds me of like the gloves on a Viper. So you could almost imagine this guy like rising up through the ranks of the Vipers to become their PT instructor, basically. I think that's what this guy is supposed to be, like, officially. So anyway, his ankle moves up about that far, moves down about that far. So good range of motion on the ankles, and of course it's on a rocker ankle, so it rotates all the way around that way. So yeah, Big Boa was definitely worth picking up, even though he was a little bit of a late addition to my collection as far as this wave goes. But I finally got around to getting him after I'd gotten one of the other waves entirely. But yeah, I'm really happy with how he turned out. He's really cool. That's pretty much it. It's a fairly short classified review, but you know, that's really all there is to say about him, I guess. He's a good kind of utility player bad guy. Like he looked really cool on your shelf of Cobra villains, and he's one of the face characters, so he kind of stand out that way. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Big Boa, both the figure and the character in general. I don't really remember him from a whole lot of G.I. Joe media. I know he wasn't on the cartoon because he was too late for the Sunbow cartoon, and I think too early for the DIC cartoon. So I don't think he was ever on. I know he wasn't on Sunbow. I don't think he was ever on DIC, but I could be wrong. Deke, whatever it's called. I could be wrong about that though. So you know, if I am, let me know in the comments. I would be interested to know if he had any episodes on the Deke cartoon. I don't remember him being in the comic book at all, which means either he wasn't in the comic book, or if he was in the comic book, he wasn't in there long enough to make an impression on me. So I would like to think I would remember if he was in the comic book. I tend to remember stuff like that. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.